All right, live on YouTube and simulcast on Free Conference Call HD or somewhere in reverse. It is Friday, January 9th, 2026. And if you're listening live today, thank you for being here and being a part of what we do over 250 days out of the year. If you are watching, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, say hi. Let me know if there's something you want me to talk about or one of us to train on in the future. But either way you look at it, remember that today, before we get into today's training, is still an awesome opportunity to make money. There are plenty of agents in the industry that have created the habit that today always goes to waste. Well, maybe there's a contract to fill out or a webinar to watch or a training to take up all the day. Not necessary. We can get everything that we need to start the day in 30 minutes and then go out there and take full advantage of whatever that means to you. Maybe that means a nice one and done over a cup of coffee from the comfort of your home. Maybe that means putting those leads together and knocking anyone you couldn't get on the phone. Maybe that means picking up the phone and starting at the top of the list of our unlimited supply of leads and working your way down. Whatever it is, you have full control over taking that to its full potential today. Today, we are doing two newish type things. Fridays are going to join the Monday format and the Wednesday format and be simulcast on Free Conference Call HD and the first 15 minutes or so available to watch on YouTube. People can watch live or rewatch later in the future, but I decided, as you're well aware and you've heard several times already, that everything that we do covered into this little box called Free Conference Call HD or hidden under a rock wasn't reaching the entire audience that was present in modern day final expense and Medicare sales. So we're going to keep doing what we always do, keep it available for you that started your day. Maybe you're even on the road for the day and broadcast it for everyone else to see. Eventually, I'll figure out how Zoom webinar works. So maybe you could watch and join me virtually, but I'm not there yet. So be patient. So Mondays, live. Wednesdays, the first 15 minutes, simulcast. Fridays, the very same thing. Mondays, if I can keep getting him to help, I'm going to keep having Dom co-host as much as he's willing to help and provide his remote perspective and practical applications to what we do. What we're also going to do that's relatively new is we're going to shift the featured agent interviews that you're so used to hearing on Monday into Tuesday. What's that going to do? That's going to give the featured agent an opportunity to think a little bit more about what they're going to say. Not that what people have said before wasn't amazing, but give them a little bit more time to mull it over, write it down, for me to figure out who it's going to be and for them to prepare. It's going to give our watching audience a thought. If I want to listen to what that person's saying, what's the phone number I can dial in because it's not available on the internet. Wednesdays, as I already said, we'll open up and then transition to the call only. Thursdays, call only. And Friday, as you're watching and listening right now, has become, as of today, product focused. Interesting, right? You know what's interesting is that so much of what people want to hear has a lot to do with the things that they sell. We talk a lot about how to sell them, but we also need to talk more about the things that we actually sell. So I tried yesterday and I wrote it down. If I wanted to make Friday exclusively product focused, how long would that last? Guess what? I can talk about a new product every day, all the way until the first week of May before I said this works. We might have to repeat ourselves after May. We might have new things to talk about in the process, but Fridays are going to become product-focused Fridays. So if you want to hear about a product that you sell, want to refresh yourself, you want to learn about something you just picked up, you want to learn about something you haven't written before, you want to learn, well, Friday is going to exclusively be product-focused Fridays. And today, there's no better product to start off this theme with than, you guessed it, Baltimore Life. Baltimore Life, for all intensive purposes and for all around observations, was our number one carrier for 2025. Baltimore Life's final expense product, I provide. And I promise you, even though you might have heard some of this before, I got into the weeds on some of the stuff with this product that you might not know. We have guys on the training today Dom Wilson and Josh Lowe, Ricky Raymond, and others. Some of them have written over 100,000 in issue and paid business with this carrier last year. That means that if I'm going to talk about something they've written over 100,000 in, I got to get into the weeds and make sure we're talking about stuff they're going to want to hear about. So before I get into that today, quick pause. Send out a text to somebody that you know needs a reminder that we're on schedule and we're on today. All you do is copy and paste the phone number into the text and send it to someone that you know needs it. Maybe you're watching live on YouTube. If you are, make sure you comment and show this video to other people. And if you don't have Baltimore Life, either within our agency or outside, for God's sake, let me know. This is one of our best, is our best carrier partner and one nothing wrong with also recognizing what works and recognizing it probably should be your number one or maybe number two carrier. Also, there's nothing better than working with a carrier that you have a relationship with, that you can reach out to and get problems solved. Aaron had a over $6,000 AP case issued, had a question about if it was premium drafted, and they let her know with a personalized email. I had a question for our VP this week about our total volume. He answered that within a pretty quick amount of time. Now let's get into the product. First, the I Provide product is ages 45 to 89. When somebody asks me, how do I pick out my primary number one company? The first thing I probably think about is the age range. Nothing wrong with a little old school 50 to 80. But when you can talk 45 to 89, you don't have to pick up a secondary company just because the person's a little young or a little old. It's obviously instant decision, obviously whole life. And it's built on a 3-tier chassis of preferred, standard, and modified. That's familiar to most of us. I'm going to get into stuff you may never have heard in just a moment. It's modified as only for ages 45 to 80. It offers 3 payment structures, as you may or may not know. Life pay, that means they pay every month for the rest of however long they live. 20 pay, that means they pay for 20 years and it's paid up. Side note, the 20 pay isn't all that different premium-wise at a lot of the ages, and you really should look at it. Single pay, and the payments are drafted using true Social Security billing. Now, the e-application works very well for both phone and field sales. And one of the other things that I think is worth mentioning for those of us that are relatively familiar with the product is that the back office is consistently getting better. I logged in today and I found things that were new that weren't there before. And it seems to be something I notice all the time. Their product has always been incredible, but they are catching up on the technology side of things that is really outclassing them compared to a lot of other carriers and eliminating the need for a lot of lesser products that might have nicer back office things, but the front end kind of a little bit lame. One of the other things I really love, and you probably do too, and if you don't know this yet, they email you your commission statement. Yay! And you get to see who paid, the negative sign if someone didn't pay, and you get another email that says how much you're getting paid into which bank account. How simple can you make it? There's no two-factor login necessary. You don't have to type in your password, your social, the last four of your EIN, or who knows what else. You just click on it and you find out. I really appreciate how easy they make finding out if I'm making money. Now let's get even more into the product. Second, the face amounts range from $2,500 all the way to $50,000. If you're looking for situations where you have to add on a little bit of coverage, those carriers with smaller face amounts really come in handy. The preferred up to age 70, you can write up to $50,000. If you get larger than 50, think they're a priority product, or if you're not sure, just ask. The age 71 to 80 range caps out at $35,000. The ages 81 to 89 caps out at $15,000. And again, knowing products that go down to $2,500 really does come in handy. Now let's get into some of the sizzle and then underwriting in a way you might not have heard before. Third, the riders, accidental death. If you're not including that automatically or asking or just skipping it, come on now, at least ask, if not already include. $1,000 cash draft benefit, something that they offer that nobody else does. What is it? It means when your client dies, the beneficiary can take the policy to the funeral home and have $1,000 advanced off of the death benefit for whatever liquid purposes they may need. Now, they also offer the accelerated death benefit rider. Sounds boring to you when you hear it all the time. It sounds exciting to the prospect when you tell them it's free and what it is. Now, let's dive into some underwriting stuff in a way you may never have heard before. What I did very briefly here is I listed all of the decline conditions with Baltimore Life, which aren't all that many, and where else you could place that business. Ready? Congestive heart failure and cardiomyopathy. You run into it occasionally. I had somebody say yesterday, maybe that should be guaranteed issue. Transamerica Express before GI, guaranteed trust graded before GI, and then your guaranteed issued company of choice. Multiple sclerosis is a decline with I Provide and Baltimore Life. Transamerica Express. You see the theme yet? Old American, Aflac Standard, or potentially Polish Falcons if you have them. Parkinson's, decline with Baltimore Life, Transamerica Express. Old American Standard, Aflac, or potentially Polish Falcons. HIV, AIDS, and dialysis. Unfortunately, still GI to this day. Citizens Life, Fidelity, also on the InstaBrain platform, Catholic Financial, or if I'm missing another GI carrier. Organ transplant, decline with Baltimore Life. Well, it's actually graded with GPM if they've had it for longer than 2 years. It's standard with Citizens if it's been longer than 5 years. It's potentially graded with Polish Falcons, or we're back to our GI of choice from Fidelity, Catholic, or Citizens. Lupus, a decline with Baltimore Life, Transamerica Standard, Aflac Standard, Polish Falcons, and then your graded or modified carrier of choice. So you can see why Transamerica is really a number 2 that you can pair with Baltimore Life as the number 1, providing an instant decision, the highest first-year commissions available, Old American for our folks out east, and maybe your other companies of preference or for price as necessary. But Baltimore Life, really, the way this product is built, can serve as your number 1 company. Let's get into a little bit more underwriting review or new information for you. COPD with no oxygen use and no hospitalization in the last year, preferred. That means it's a better rate than everybody else. Diabetic neuropathy, relatively under control, preferred. Cancer in some forms, stage 1 qualifies for preferred. You know, there's another carrier out there that has a niche for cancer. You don't need an outside niche one-off company because this company would potentially take it. AFib, if it's been stable and it's over a year, preferred. Blood clots. You run into that occasionally. longer than 6 months, preferred. Depression and bipolar, preferred. Now, schizophrenia and psychosis decline, but also seizures, if no seizures in the last 12 months, preferred, where others would take that graded or even worse. Other time-based conditions like heart attack and stroke, it's 2 years for standard, 5 years for preferred. So the moral of the story today is if Baltimore Life isn't your number one, give them a try. If they're your number two, perfect. If you don't have them, let me know. And I have full confidence with their history in the industry, their history in our space, and their stability that this is one of the most confident places you can place your business. I'm going to wrap things up on YouTube. Give me just a moment to cycle the screen, hang up on one thing, unmute another thing.